This week on Ahoy, I managed to persuade an official VW dealer to be interviewed on the hugely debated new Volkswagen Transporter. I also pushed him to see how it stacks up on all the costs. What will he think and say about the shared forward platform? Or more importantly, what will he say about the huge elephant in the room, the wet belt engine? Well, after the last video, we've been invited down to Volkswagen York, where we've bought 4, 5 vans, something like that, off them. Alex has invited me down to go and see the new van. He's watched my other video, which wasn't great, was very much on the fence around what I'm going to do. I've never had so many comments on a video. There is a lot of opinion and passion around what's happening with the platform. I didn't want to send out the second video until I'd actually seen the van in the flesh. I think it's unfair to kind of cast my view without seeing it first. Going into this, before I've even seen the van, I'm kind of erring on the side of the Transit, and the reason for that is there's 0% interest with the Transit. I think it marginally looked better on pictures, and I just think that kind of aggressive styling with the lights is looking quite good, and obviously you can change out the grille. The 0% interest, it's cheaper as a van and seems a more complete van. This wet belt system, like, if you think this is just a few keyboard warriors having a moan, it's not that. I've spoke to a few mechanics. The wet belt system as a whole, not just on the Ford, but across the other platforms, is a nightmare. And in essence, that wet belt, there's loads of different types of materials that have been used to try and make that rubber belt as reliable as possible. Because it's hidden, because it's inside the casing, you just don't know how that material is performing. And even within the manufacturers, even within the individual models, they're trying to improve and update the materials on that rubber because they're failing early. I understand that you can say, right, we'll change your belt ahead of what the sort of predefined lengths of time are, but I don't want an engine where I'm constantly worrying whether I'm going to have to get the belt changed early because of a design fault. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This is not a sort of someone having a bit of a moan and it's one of them things, oh, I prefer the old style dry belt versus the wet belt. It's not that. There's an inherent design problem in a lot of the vehicles. What are your thoughts, Kate?
I liked the Transit when we went to see it. I thought it looked very smart. The interior was nice as well, so yeah, I don't know. I just have to see.
I've got a sneaky feeling that the interior is going to be where the Volkswagen trumps the Transit.
I got a bed that'll keep you warm. If you got monsters left to fight, I got a love that'll wage a war. If you don't sleep so sound tonight, if you don't sleep so sound tonight, if you don't sleep so sound tonight, I got a love and it's only yours. Life gets heavy, people leave, but if you got trouble, I'll be first on the scene. After midnight, in the pouring rain, for you I'd be there anytime, any place. If you're gonna go and break my heart in pieces, heaven still knows that you will always keep that. If you don't sleep so sound tonight, I got a bed that'll keep you warm. If you got monsters left to fight, I got a love that'll wage a war. If you don't sleep so sound tonight, if you don't sleep so sound tonight, if you don't sleep so sound tonight, I got a love and it's only yours. You're volatile, you're kerosene, but I'll feed the flame, I can handle the heat. Instead of crying, you show your teeth. Don't gotta be brave, you can put it on me. If you're gonna go and break my heart in pieces,
It's nice, really. I believe that was intentional from Volkswagen. That feels very familiar. As much as it'd have been great to kind of redesign that and relay it out, that familiarity is feeling nice. Yeah, it just feels a little bit close in. I'm sure there's a reason to do with the way the light could hit that screen. Snappy, really fast, really responsive. So add phone, see how easy it is.
On your device.
Oh, there you go, right. So there's the sat-nav working now. Looks like there's a lot more storage under there as well. This comes down.
That's new there as well.
Yeah, that bit there. Yeah, I'm not sure about these arms, but also like feel like they're too wide apart. Managed to get a little bit of time with Alex. We've bought a few vans off you already.
Yeah, you have.
So we are a good customer. And you have watched my previous video, which was a little bit critical. A little bit critical, but it was fair.
It was constructive criticism. We're open to that.
I've had a look around the van. I'm starting to change my mind.
Yeah.
We were sort of talking about this on the way down here. I had a funny feeling I would. The platform's done. Like it's shared platform.
Yeah.
It's not unusual. There's lots of vans doing that.
No, it's done. Vehicle manufacturers do this for a number of particular reasons. At the end of the day, over the next 10 years, with petrol vehicles, diesel vehicles, electric vehicles, there's so many things that vehicle manufacturers are having to deal with world emissions.
Yeah.
Collaborations are not uncommon within the industry. So if you can share the development costs, and they have to look at, they produced the platform of this vehicle. It's a 50-50 co-build.
Mm-hmm.
Their main aim was life expectancy of their production for building this shell is probably anywhere between 8 and 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to look at how they develop the vehicle working with changing world emissions on a new platform. And that's why future-proofing it now allows them to move forward by offering diesel, but lower emissions, meeting all the regulations. Plug-in hybrid to come, and electric.
I was going to say, I think the challenge is a lot of the vehicle manufacturers are starting to have to still serve up the older customers in terms of, diesel, combustion engines, but then they're moving into electric. The investment in that is huge. So you're seeing the market really broaden, and I think a lot of manufacturers seem to be getting spread thin.
Yeah.
I think it's affecting things. I know on the Stellantis platform, there's been a bit of a drop in sales. I know there was something that come out around the US sales of that platform. So I think the industry is going through a lot of change, and you're gonna sort of see differences.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to really see was what did the front look like in the flesh.
Yes.
We've got it in this colour. There's white options outside, and I am liking it.
Yeah.
I am liking it. The interior is probably better than what I thought it was going to be.
Right. Interested to know feedback.
Yeah, because I've sat in the different versions of the Ford, and it is looking and feeling a lot better.
Well, we've seen this now for about 10 days. So you've seen it fresh today. In the flesh. You've come over, especially here to York. So totally get that. We've seen it for a few days now. We've sat in it. As you can see, I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
There's more leg room in the cab.
Yeah.
The double seat bench beside. There's more room in that.
Yeah.
There's more knee room.
Yeah.
And I think as you move forward, you've seen the body colour bumpers for the Pro model, which we've got here in the showroom.
Yeah.
The Commerce Plus model, which has the body colour bumpers.
Yeah.
They will allow a lot of people to move forward with personalising how they want their vehicle to be.
Yeah. Couple of things that came up on the last video. So there's one thing that I spotted that's not really made much of a point, and I did ask you about this. So the swivel seats, there are no swivel seats, and that's come off the back of, it's the T7 multivan really that's pushed forward as a camper van.
That's right.
This is a commercial vehicle, therefore there's just no.
So obviously the co-build partnership means that the production has moved away from Hanover.
Yeah.
Where California product is based. Now, because the Volkswagen commercial vehicles aren't going to produce a California derivative of this because it's being built in a different part of the world, I think that's the reason why there isn't the facility as a factory option to put in swivel seats.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small thing because sometimes people want the double passenger seat because of they've got kids or whatever and what have you. But it was something that I spotted. So the big one is, what are the deals in terms of, there's a deposit contribution with Volkswagen. Competing against the Ford, they're doing 0% interest, not on stock vehicles, but on new ordered vehicles.
I'm aware of that.
And they are a bit cheaper. Now, when you're not going for an automatic, the price difference is marginal. When you go for an automatic, it jumps up a bit, and the price difference is bigger. However, you do get, what's the insurance, what's the deposit contribution off the bat?
Right, so if you look at the ownership funding packages, so whether you're a hire purchase customer, which is split over equal monthly payments, whether you prefer lease purchase, which is in effect hire purchase with a final payment at the end, or whether you're a customer that prefers like a PCP, where there is an offer for a buyback. Not as popular for somebody that may have a vehicle converted into a camper, but if they're keeping it more as the vehicle as it was built as. The finance rate is subsidised by Volkswagen Financial Services to 6.9% APR. They will then give you a £2,500 deposit contribution. However, I've got something to share with you today since you've both come across. If you place an order this month on a new T7, you will also get £1,000 extra.
So that's
£3,500.
Right.
So you get the £2,500 deposit contribution. And orders placed this month from Volkswagen commercial vehicles, they will support an extra £1,000 into the pot.
Right. Okay.
So that's something I wanted to share with you today.
That's good because that's
however you look at it, coming away out of your interest or anything like that.
And did you mention there was something on me being an existing customer and possible?
Yes, so obviously sharing a bit of your personal information, which you're okay to do now. You're an existing Volkswagen Financial Services customer. So I have access to giving you an extra £1,500 loyalty support towards using Volkswagen Financial Services on your next vehicle, because your current agreement is about to expire.
So that's on top of the, so 2,500, 1,000.
Yes.
And then because I'm a financial services, Volkswagen Financial Services customer, an extra.
It's what they call a loyalty.
Right.
So because your current agreement is due to expire, then Volkswagen Financial Services will give you extra loyalty.
Ooh, okay.
Now,
so this is getting tempting.
This is specific to your particular case.
Flipping heck, Alex. I wish you'd have gone through this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an even tougher decision.
And then obviously, we've spoken before. I've watched your video on how to configure a vehicle, looking at Volkswagen's website. Now, Volkswagen commercial vehicles on all new T7 transporters have 5-year promise. So as we see on the vehicle here, so this is all, so every vehicle, no matter how you purchase it or fund it, you get 5-year, 124,000 mile manufacturer warranty, whole vehicle. You have 5 years Volkswagen roadside assist. And then you also get 5 annual services. So
I mean, that's good, because we were paying extra. They are good, these. We were paying extra for them, and I would have advised people to get that again. But that's now included. With it.
And the other thing is, if your customers or you move around the country, these packages are honoured by any Volkswagen van service centre or van centre in the UK mainland. Also, as part linked to the 5 annual services, you get 3 MOTs. So Volkswagen will pay for your first MOT, year 3, year 4, and year 5. Obviously, if you've got wearing tyres and things like that, consumables, you would be paying for those. But the actual MOT is paid for by the Volkswagen Van Centre.
Okay, so in my previous video, I was kind of like, it was like a 14k jump, but then we're getting quite a lot of discounts in, like big discounts. Van prices have gone up as a whole across all different platforms. So this is just not just a Volkswagen thing. Right, okay, so that's starting to get a bit more kind of palatable.
So once you factor in the 5-year promise on the vehicle, that's comes with the Volkswagen product.
Yeah.
That's faith in the product, the brand.
Yeah.
You're already a service customer.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know you've used us, you use other VW service dealers around the country.
Yeah.
And obviously at the end of the day, we understand we're in a transition period. Today's the first day this vehicle's been shown.
Yeah.
The wraps came off it last night at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
There will be customers out there of ours and yours that are in a mindset at the moment. Do I want to go into the new model yet?
Yeah.
Or do I want to get the last of the T6.1? Our group buyer here at JCT has actually gone out and just been recently buying late, low mileage T6.1s.
Yeah.
Because there might be customers that will say, well, I might want to get one of the last of the VW Hanover product before I may next time round jump into the new T7.
Yeah.
So we've always got a good selection for that kind of product and customer.
Yeah. I think that's what's tempting as well, is that the T6.1 prices are strong at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm a bit more on the fence. I've been changing my mind every day, really. But I think there's a lot of people that just want to get the last true Volkswagen.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
And I think I've kind of swung this sort of in my. I've gone through phases in my head thinking, you know, what a Volkswagen. You know, they used to be engineers and designers, and now they're just marketing and just constantly doing these other vans with other people.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is as the markets become wider, manufacturers are getting spread thinner. They're having to invest in newer, electric vehicles. You know, look at the ID Buzz. You know, they've got to try and move forward with it, and as a result, they have to try and do these shared platforms.
Yeah.
So, I can't comment on what the big manufacturers are. I can't imagine what that's like trying to manage that. But I think what you've got to realise is the platform deal is done. It's a shared platform.
Yeah.
And now really for people, it's, are you going to go with the VW flavoured one or the Ford flavoured one? And what are the comparisons? And the thing for me is, with these discounts, that starts to make it a bit of a swing towards VW for me, because we don't know what the residual values are going to be, but the likelihood is the Volkswagen badge is going to be holding better value.
It's still going to be a strong proposition moving forward.
Yeah.
The brand, at the end of the day, it's got a very loyal following, both individuals and the fleet business markets. They understand what the brand brings to them, the peace of mind that it gives through its warranty system. At the end of the day, the way we look at it, you've got the two big market leaders out there. Putting two together actually isn't a bad thing, because you've got expertise through more volume. We've got the brand and the image and the way that we do things in the specification and styling. As you've seen here today, now this is the first time you've looked at the new front end that you see on the new T7, because that's the bit you see. And now that you've seen the kind of T7 multivan outside, the ID Buzz outside, you can see how the brand resemblance is starting to kind of follow those similar styling cues.
I must admit, I'm still not sure about the little flat bit on the top of the bonnet, but I'm starting to realise that's part of the design language, because they've all got these flat bits on the front. I think that might be one of them things similar to the T6.1 where I didn't like the front, and it'll just kind of settle after a while. I think it's one of them where the interior is better on the Volkswagen. The warranty and everything is a lot better. I was kind of expecting that the interest was going to be higher, but actually that's not too bad. You're getting some really good discounts, especially this month, especially if you are an existing Volkswagen Finance customer as well. I think the bit I need to get past, and like the wet belt thing is like all over the internet, all over my comments. Getting the 5-year warranty, especially with people that are going to probably hold on to the van for that time period anyway, it just cancels that out, gives them peace of mind.
It does, and then obviously you've got 5 annual services in there. The product has gone through development as well before it's come into our product. And we're not the only two groups that are using that technology. As I think you've already pointed out to your customers. There's a lot of design reasons why that's out there. But however, at the end of the day, you and I don't make the vehicles.
I appreciate you're in a sticky position as well, but my view is that yes, it does increase efficiency by say 1%, and it does reduce noise by having a wet belt system, but the pros are far outweighed by the cons and the risk. However, I would agree, they're all doing it at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, even the T6.1 does have a wet belt right at the bottom, but it's under way less pressure. And if it did go, you would have a drop in oil pressure. You'd replace that belt, and it wouldn't affect the engine. So, yeah, I won't sort of labour that point too much, but it is a kind of a bit of an elephant in the room. I think that's just going to come down to personal preference. And,
It is,
and ultimately, you've got no choice. If you want a new van, you're either going for the T6.1 and try to get a low mileage deal and snap one up, or you're going into the new platform and you are choosing either Ford or Volkswagen, and that's it. On the configuration, I know you've been doing it as well.
Yes.
Because I would imagine a lot of the dealerships are kind of like, all right, let me get this sussed out for when customers are asking. What we were doing with the start line is kind of getting the business edition and the bumper packs.
Right. Yeah.
And now it's it's changing a little bit.
It is. The model lineup has changed, that you go from the entry commerce, as we've now called it. Excuse me. So this is not unique to the new T7.
Yeah.
In line with what we've done with the Caddy Cargo range, ID Buzz Cargo range, and the rebranding of Crafter commerce range.
Yeah.
So they're falling. The kind of the odd one out is probably Amarok, because it's a pickup.
Yeah.
However, Commerce Plus, with the kind of the core specification you're getting on it, with the body colour bumpers and that, is a prime kind of model. It's a bit like when we used to do the old Trend line.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that middle model.
It feels like it's in the sweet spot. Yeah.
It's if you want to go that next stage. So the Highline was always a popular model for our customers to be a donor vehicle to end up being into their day van or their camper, or whatever they may choose to use it as. So the Pro has literally replaced that. Additional standard equipment. Everything's got LED lights.
Yeah.
But when you start to look at the kind of the little bits and pieces, and you want to probably add alloy wheels or things like that, basically manufacturer based rather than just the accessory market.
It was all those little added extras like the foldable mirrors, front sensors, but now in these vans you're getting kind of like rear cameras, LED lights are standard. There's a lot of other things that are just kind of laid in as standard. I'll tell you one thing I'm not too sure on is the armrests.
Right.
So you feel a bit, because you're a big guy, like I'm 6'4". What are you? How tall are you?
6'3".
So they're a little bit wider. So for Kate's 5 foot, so
they're
a bit wide. Yeah, have you noticed that?
Yeah,
easier to use.
I would say, don't take this the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I would think back at home, the average German is probably a little bit bigger than we are.
Right. Okay.
So, and the other thing is the cab is more generous.
Yeah, it is.
So the proportions of the seat you've had in a T6 or a 6.1, or actually a previous 5.1 or 5, and then you jump in new T7, it is a bigger seat. The two seats to the left, they are bigger. There's more knee room. If you haven't got if you haven't got a manual gearbox, then you've got more knee room as well, because that area is removed.
That's right. Yeah.
We've not yet seen a dual seat vehicle because we're waiting to see vehicles.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see how big the space is between two single seats.
Yeah. I think there's going to be good. It feels really spacious. I think the captain seats is going to be the one to go for.
Yeah.
The armrests are easier to use because you're not fiddling about with that kind of swirly button underneath.
No, it's just the button.
Yeah, they just feel a little bit more.
They've fallen in line with some of the other products we've got.
Right, got you.
So I run around in an ID Buzz, and that has the similar kind of mechanism.
Yeah.
In the way that you press a button and adjust it.
The infotainment system feels quite easy and snappy to use.
Yeah.
Really responsive.
Yeah.
So really like that. I think once you suss out where the home button is to orientate yourself, you're fine. Yeah. Managed to connect my phone up to it, and that CarPlay bit's working lovely. Yeah. So the touch screen is bang on. Yes. And I know a few people have said, like the Volkswagen infotainment systems are pretty good. Yeah. And I was worried about, like, just when you're driving, you just want to be able to just reach to a button.
You just want the instant things.
Yeah. And I think they have got some of those key things there.
Yeah.
So it's feeling
what we would call shortcut buttons.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
We're going to have a bit of a think when we're driving back. But those extra offers especially because we've got one
Yeah,
due to
'cause
be renewed.
you're an existing Volkswagen Financial Services customer, so
Yeah.
you get loyalty.
The
You've got an agreement that's about to expire.
The thing is that camper van that's up, it's only done about 10,000 miles. It's
Yeah.
a Highline.
Yeah.
It's got one of the Clayton off-grid systems in it.
Yeah.
And it looks, because it's not been used as much,
Yeah.
we'll get really good money for that van.
Yes, yeah, your market's going to be good for that.
Yeah. So it's even, well, you would say that, wouldn't you? It's even more tempting
Well,
for
at
me
the
to.
end of the day, you've seen the Pro here today.
Yeah.
So, honest opinion, first impression, once you've kind of stood back, you've obviously taken some photographs of it today. What's the thought?
It still, to me, because I've probably been looking at it way more than the normal consumer,
Yeah.
it still screams Transit because I've been sat in the Transit and I'm obviously comparing it a lot. But the bits that are Volkswagen have been done very well. The front looks great.
Yeah.
I think the front is going to age better than the Transit. At the moment, the Transit, it looks quite aggressive, it looks good. The problem is, you get a base van, you start adding all these extra bits on it,
Yeah, things move.
and I've got a funny feeling that the Volkswagen is going to look better by the time you've got your kit on,
Yes.
and the new wheels, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I really,
No.
yeah, I didn't,
But at the end of the day, when you have a shared shell,
yeah,
and the shell is the structure, obviously we've got cosmetic panels here, but
Yeah,
the structure behind, you can't change that because that's all part of the strength for the crash test.
yeah. I mean,
And it's a van, so it's a box.
look, a good example is the Sprinter and the old Crafter.
Yes.
I think that the Sprinter's actually aged much better than the Crafter.
Yeah.
With this one, I've got a funny feeling it's going to be the Volkswagen that ages better than the Transit. But I think that's it, it's personal preference. And I think the biggest thing for me, the takeaway from this is, you know, I always kind of sneakily thought that the Transit drove a bit better. The driving dynamics were a little bit better than the Volkswagen. I think people knew that. It's kind of like the Transit was a little bit better. And he was always kind of, well, what is the Transporter going to do to kind of leapfrog him a little bit? Yeah. Maybe didn't think this, but given what's gone on with the other vehicles as well, it is what it is, it's changed. Yeah. I think for me, my gut feeling, stood here talking to you now, is that it's probably going to be better to stick with Volkswagen and buy into the brand and all the rest of it and say, let's see where it goes. It's going to be shared for 5, 6, 7, 8 years at least. At least.
Yeah. It's probably 8 or more.
Do you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, because a development of a shell, you can't change something in 5 years.
Yeah.
You've got to get longevity out of it. So you're looking probably between 8 and 10.
Right.
And strangely enough, when you start to look at where the current market is, we're 2025, world emissions, combustion engines, electric, all of this, we've got till 2035. The politicians can argue backwards and forwards, but the reality is there's some ground rules in there, and vehicle manufacturers are having to work with it because they can't work with politicians' finger in the air. They've got to deal with the reality.
Yeah.
And the reality is they've got to build a product, bring it to market, to sell in the volumes that they want to do to their customers. And you've got to look at the length that you can get out of a body shell design.
Look, the reality is that the Transit sold way more than you know, you can't deny that.
No. Ford do what they do.
One of the things I've been looking in the forums on the Fords, there's been the odd thing that's come out that the paintwork's not great.
Yeah.
On this van, the paintwork's looking bang on.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are different, basically build lines. I don't know if they're using the same paint, but
I don't know because I can't answer that
No,
question.
I don't want you to comment. I'm just saying one of the things I've been looking at closely is how good the paintwork is, and the paintwork looks really good on this van.
But Volkswagen will have their own team of people at the production plants.
Quality checking.
Of course they do, because at the end of the day, they're putting their name on the product.
Yeah.
So they'll watch the vehicle through build. It's got to be
Yeah.
Volkswagen commercial vehicles remit, because at the end of the day, it's their product. And they'll be looking after it once it hits the road.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the UK, around the world.
That's what I've been looking at, is kind of, you know, gaps in panel gaps, paint finishing, that kind of thing. And it's, on this van, is very, very good. Brilliant. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Cheers, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks
Thanks a lot.